All right. Good morning, everyone. We are so excited to have you here. I know a few people are still logging in, but we'll get through our intro stuff and then let Aleks take it away. Just wanted to say how happy I am to have you here. We are the Northwest Mental Health Technology Transfer Center, and we're very excited to have this topic today, mindfulness practices for providers. This is part 2 of 8 sessions that Aleks is doing for us. It's very exciting to talk about this important topic. And I am Christina Clayton. I am one of the co-directors of the Northwest MHTTC. The MHTTC, if you haven't heard of us before, is a nationwide network supported by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, otherwise known as SAMHSA. Our purpose includes disseminating and implementing evidence-based practices for mental health issues into the workforce. The goals of the network, in short, are supporting mental health-related practices, heightening the awareness, knowledge, and skills of the workforce, fostering alliances, and connecting you, most importantly, to free training and technical assistance. Now about our Northwest MHTTC. We are based at the University of Washington in the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences. We are responsible and honored to serve Region 10, which includes Alaska, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. And our particular focus is on evidence-based practices and other practices for serious mental health issues, such as psychosis. However, we provide training on a variety of topics, including integrated care, suicide prevention, diversity and equity issues, school mental health, peer support, trauma-informed approaches, and others. And our workforce is broad. It's everyone and anyone that touches the mental health system or folks served by it. It's our intention to always be mindful of using language that promotes recovery and culturally appropriate terminology. So we just want to always be thinking about that. And also, as I review the logistics here, we are recording. So if you are sharing information via chat or a question, just keeping confidentiality in mind. So we've made every attempt to make today's presentation secure. If something unexpected happens, it's not happened, but we'll follow up with you immediately during this. Because it's a large audience, we have you muted and not appearing on video. But we do have a couple options to make sure you can ask your questions. The slides and things, including the recording, will be available soon in a couple of weeks, and you'll be notified by email or a message from our newsletter about that. And also, we will also be able to issue certificate of attendance. We don't have formal CEUs, but we are often able people to use those for those kind of purposes. Last year, your feedback is very crucial to our work, so we'd appreciate if you would take just a few minutes at the end. We will put a survey link in the chat and also follow up with you after by email. And we are required by SAMHSA to do these surveys, and it helps them know that people came to our trainings. And it also really gives us feedback that helps us keep these kind of things supported. Just as a reminder, you do have the chat and that's visible to everyone, but if you have a question around content, please put them in the Q&A box. And that's really helpful because we can't copy and paste from the chat. And also we'll be queuing those up and moderating those at the end when Aleks is done. And if we can't get to your questions, we'll certainly try to respond to you after the session. All right, and if you have any tech issues, we're here, our team is here to help. SAMHSA obviously supports our work, but does not endorse or, take credit for any of the opinions here in the session. And then today I'm very excited to introduce our presenter. Aleks has been in the health and social service field for over 20 years, drawn to the LGBTQI2 plus community in their mid-20s, working for a national HIV prevention study with youth called Young Asian Men's Studies. This exposed them to the great work of HIV workers from other organizations and how community-based programs are critical in reaching out to the most vulnerable populations. Aleks was inspired to start a private practice to address the special needs and does just so much advocacy and is just, I think, pretty famous here in our Seattle area. So I'll let Aleks go on with their descriptions, but I think we will. Sorry, I'm going on the slides. Really sorry about that. Here we go. So sorry. But I will stop at this point and turn it over to Aleks. So sorry for the exciting slide preview.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christina, and the wonderful folks at MHTTC Northwest chapter for having me and creating this time with all of us. A moment for learning, strengthening our minds, expanding our hearts, for compassion and passion in our community. Good morning, good afternoon, and what an amazing day spent with everyone here. Again, my name is Aleks Martin. I primarily use she pronouns, but he and they are totally okay. I am honored to share safe space with everyone, with all of you, and hope that this new year will bring comfort and peace in your homes and workplaces. Kang hei fat joy. And as we begin our time together, I acknowledge that I am on the traditional land of the Coast Salish people, the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish people, past and present, and honor with gratitude the land itself and the Duwamish tribe. I am on the unceded ancestral lands of the Duwamish people who are still here, continuing to honor and bring to light their ancient heritage. I invite you to honor the land you are on, its people, past and present, the land that you and your family have come to settle on and make a home. And just a little about me for background and context. I am a licensed social worker with a concentration in integrated health and mental health from the University of Washington. And I am also a licensed substance use disorder professional in the state of Washington. I spent almost 2 decades at Seattle Counseling Service, an LGBTQ behavioral health agency here in the Northwest. And I recently returned to public health, Seattle and King County, where I worked on a transgender health survey and worked on various COVID centers at the beginning of the pandemic, and now work at a high intensity case management HIV clinic at Harborview Medical Center in Seattle. And I also have my private practice where I provide consultation and education. Much of my work is centered on health disparities that impact marginalized groups while embracing harm reduction and acknowledging implicit bias. As a proud genderqueer and immigrant from the Philippines, I intend to share my professional and personal experiences with the hope of bringing diverse perspectives into an often cisgender, heteronormative, white, and male dominated arena. Today's webinar goal is to identify the history of mindfulness practice, incorporate healthy methods into personal and professional practices. Last month's webinar included a mindful grounding activity centered on breathing and body awareness. It was an intentional activity to introduce this into our space. At every webinar, I will guide us in a short activity to normalize incorporating this into events like a webinar, including therapeutic time with clients and patients, and hopefully even in staff meetings. I would personally be so delighted if you're able to add this into your personal routine. Even just a few minutes can do wonders. This mindfulness meditation activity is designed to assist in exploring inner and outer experiences in the present moment. It is focused on quieting the mind while deepening awareness of the mind-body connection. So let's begin. Before you enter into the mindfulness practice, find yourself in a comfortable seated position. Place both feet on the floor. Gently move your body to increase your comfort. Once you find that sweet spot, take a deep breath and long but relaxed exhale with closed eyes or a soft gaze. Let gravity pull the body towards the ground. Mother, take another deep breath and exhale with a soft as you begin and become one with this moment. Inhale. Soft exhale. Should you feel sensations, let them be. Simply say, "Hello, body. I am here with you." Be one with your body. It has served you well, and it has protected your mind, heart, and spirit. Give it gratitude by simply being where you are now. The here and now and nowhere else. There is nothing to do but inhale and a soft exhale. Continue to follow my voice and know that you are amazing. Acknowledge and accept by embracing your belly gently and lovingly. Listen to your heartbeat. Feel free to move your palms towards your chest. Feel its power and might. Let it beat in its natural rhythm. Listen within. Listen deeply. Inhale and a soft exhale. Gently move your palms, hands, and fingers towards your head, imagining holding your crown befitting your majestic self. Remember that you are royalty. Slowly shift your arms above you, stretch it towards the sky. A sky unlimited in potential and endless in possibilities, just like you. Gentle inhale, soft exhale. As we complete this short practice, gently open your eyes and begin to connect with your environment, your personal, safe space. Slowly take notice of discoveries, memories, images, voices, sensations, thoughts, feelings that bring joy, peace, and enlightenment. Perhaps a smile. Remember them. Gently inhale and softly exhale. And in a few moments, let's come back together. Thank you. Salamat po. One of the primary things that has come up for me while preparing for this is the recognition that all of us are very familiar with the topic. But sometimes we all need a little reminder to be mindful. Remember that you are all experts already. We just need a little nudge, myself included. Now let's get into some simple definitions. Mindfulness as a practice is described as mindfulness as a way of paying attention that originated in Eastern meditation practices, according to Marlatt and Christeller. It's paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. This is according to the mindfulness training as a clinical intervention, a conceptual and empirical review by Ruth Bader. Bringing one's attention, complete attention, to the present experience on a moment-to-moment basis. You may have seen the word sati, which means a moment-to-moment awareness of present events, remembering to be aware of something. You may have seen it as Zen or Chan, Chana, Dhyana for meditation. It is a self-restraint meditation practice into the nature of the mind and the nature of things and the personal expression of this insight in daily life. But let's begin where and how it all started, paying respect to its roots. To get us all engaged in the topic, let's join in on a poll. You can participate online, and we'll have the link in the chat box. And you can pick your choice from the selection and answer the question, where did mindfulness originate from? Is it A, Buddhism? Is it B, Christianity? Or C, Hinduism? Let's see. So again, the question is, and from the link in the chat box, pick your choice from the selection and answer the question, where did mindfulness originate from? Let's see. More on the Buddhism, just one under Christian. Oh, they changed their mind, it looks like. And then about 12 for Hinduism. Up. It's moving. It's quite fascinating that this thing moves live. Looks like a lot of people are saying Buddhism. We'll keep that. Oh, it's going up. A lot of Buddhism. So this is just in alphabetical order. A is for Buddhism, B for Christianity, and C Hinduism. So it looks like a lot of people are saying Buddhism. All right. So let's get back to the other one. All right. So, people, many, including myself, have been conditioned to believe that it started in Buddhism, the Chinese in particular. And some have been taught that many things in the modern world originated in Christianity from monks and priests and Catholic schools. But actually, it started in Hinduism as early as 1500 BCE, before the Common Era. Now, that's not a typo, all right? Uh, Side note, there has always been an alternative secular approach to the otherwise Christian-based term BC, or before Christ, and then there's the AD, which stands for Anno Domini, meaning in the year of the Lord. Now, with BCE, which stands for before Common Era, and CE, which stands for Common Era, the timeline is really the same, but with regard for a non-religious perspective that honors the cultures and traditions of other diverse communities. So I just wanted to share that tidbit with everyone. As you can see here, it's really the same timeline. It's just secular. That's all that it is. Thank you. Now, a recent editorial piece by Elizabeth Yuko resonates with me on how foreign and challenging it is to understand, let alone embrace, the practice of mindfulness. All right? Because of our short time together, I'm not going to quiz you on the deep history of mindfulness, other than to share that these highlights, according to Yuko, and this illustration is by Abhadhe, it can be traced in yoga practice in India, again in 1500 BCE. By 500 BCE, it was embedded in Buddhism that spreads throughout Asia for centuries moving forward. By the late 1800s, British colonizers of Ceylon, now known as Sri Lanka, near India, translated the ancient word to what is now known as mindfulness. But then by the 60s and 70s, Asian practices reached the US and gained popularity. By the 1990s, the term mindfulness CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, emerges, becoming popular in clinical practice. And so today it continues to gain scientific relevance in cross disciplines. And if I may add, with the current pandemic, mindfulness has become synonymous with self-care. There are now almost 3,000 mobile apps and podcasts on mindfulness alone. So, to that note, I do encourage you to seek out the best choice that matches your personal and professional needs. I can't say I have a particular favorite, but I will say look for the following criteria. What is the background of the practitioner? Right? Are they a clinician? Are they a stay-at-home mom, lawyer turned social worker, right? What is the mission of the practice? Is this clearly articulated on what the driving force is or the motivation behind it? How long is each session? Is it a short 5-minute session or an hour-long session? How does their voice affect your response? Is it a soothing, melodious voice versus an instructional and objective tone? And lastly, how well rested and relaxed do you feel afterwards? Did it meet your expectations? Did it leave you more anxious, stressed, or tired? So these are very important questions to ask. What is the background of the practitioner? What is the mission of the practice? How long is each session? How does their voice affect your response? And how well rested and relaxed do you feel afterwards? And anything else really that you might think of that is especially important for you. Say you're a parent, look, and you have a toddler, you have a newborn, and you want to incorporate your little one in your practice. Try to see if a practitioner or an existing guided meditation has that incorporated in their practice. You'll be surprised with what else there. Take advantage of modern technology. It's a great tool. All right, so it's time for another audience participation activity. Honestly, I feel like a talk show host every time I do this video. So in the same format as before, with the link provided in the chat box, please choose the letter that best describes your answer to the following question. How often do you practice mindfulness? A, rarely. B, sometimes. C, all the time. D, never heard of it. All right, let's see what the answers are. Ah, very good. So most of you are saying sometimes. We could say 50-50, right? And I know these are all subjective. There's no exact numbers. And then rarely and often. And then one person never heard of it, and that's totally okay. So sometimes there's half and half. I would say that I'm actually under sometimes as well. I'm guilty of it too, and that's why it's also good for me to practice it. I'm no expert, but I feel that it's really helpful to know that it's also challenging, particularly right now. It's the human, it's the humanity in it. So I'm also under sometimes, but I bet you, I tell you, every time I do it also, oh, the benefits, it's outstanding, outstanding. All right, so most of you, sometimes. That's really fascinating. Rarely and often are about the same at 11. All right. All right. All right, so today I'd like for us to simplify the concept of mindfulness into two simple ideas: breathing and body scanning. Think of it in this way: B&B, not a bed and breakfast, but breathing and body scanning. Breathing, or mindful breathing, is a very basic yet powerful mindfulness meditation practice. The idea is simply to focus your attention on your breathing, to its natural rhythm and flow, in the way it feels on each inhale and exhale. One of the easiest ways to reduce stress is to simplify focus on your attention on your breath. It's a form of entry-level meditation that anyone can do. The most basic way to do mindful breathing is simply to focus your attention on your breath, the inhale and the exhale. Now, the body scan is one of the most effective ways to begin a mindfulness meditation practice. The purpose is to tune in to your body, to reconnect to your physical self, and notice any sensations you're feeling without judgment. While many people, including myself, find body scan relaxing, relaxation is not the primary goal. The goal is to train the mind to be more open and aware of sensory experiences, and ultimately more accepting. With time and practice, the body scan will build your ability to focus and be fully present in your life. So before we dive into a couple of sample mindfulness activities, let's do one more audience participation activity. Again, the link is in the chat box of our Zoom platform. No matter your knowledge base and or skill set, I'm particularly interested in finding out where you're at with the question, Do you believe that mindfulness, meditation, or some form of it is a helpful tool for your personal life? Yes, absolutely. Nah, done it, but it's not my thing. Maybe it's worth a try. All right, let's see the responses. Ah, wonderful. Yes, absolutely. A little bit on the nah. And then maybe it's worth a try. Absolutely. Awesome. Yes, let's give it a shot. And the thing is, even if for yourself, it's not your thing, as a practitioner, think about it as an option, as a tool, as a resource for your clients, right? I've done this myself with my clients. And when you do it, at least do it with your client. That's where I'll challenge you as a fellow practitioner. Do it with your clients and patients in the room. It can be so amazing. Often I try to introduce it at the beginning and at the end to open and close the session, particularly for patients who come in on, self-described crises, or they're feeling, in their words, anxious, or they just feel stressed. So I often will introduce this practice, and I usually just focus on the breathing. Again, it's an entry level. It's amazing. It really is, even if it's just for those few moments. Well, this is good. A lot of you really believe in mindfulness. That's very good. And I appreciate you still, expanding your knowledge base and your skill set. And hopefully I am able to add more resources to your tool belt. All right. So the following is a modified version of different scripts that can be found from different sources. And I encourage you to find one that best describes your needs and best matches your needs. For me, it's often just a choice of words and lingo that speaks to me naturally, a sort of kind conversation that I'm having with myself. This activity is not about breath manipulation. It is simply placing awareness on the natural occurrence of breathing. Although it may sound super simple, it is not always easy. And I'm guilty of it myself. My thoughts often race back and forth, which can make it very difficult. I share this to empathize that we're not perfect, that we can get pretty close, though, to perfection by meeting our goals. It begins by breathing normally, bringing focus to breathing. If you're like me, it can be very helpful to bring attention to physical cues. For example, the rise and fall of your belly or chest, the flaring of the nose with each cool breath in and with each warm breath out. Now, our minds can and will naturally wander. Then refocus on the physical cues. Focus again on each inhale and exhale. Even for a minute or two, believe me and trust yourself that with repetition and practice, this helps eliminate distraction, release negative thoughts, improve self-awareness, and quiet a racing mind. Again, the more you do it, the easier it will get. And the more you'll start to notice the benefits in your daily life. I will be honest again that when I miss out on mindfulness exercises, I see and feel a palpable difference in my energy, be it at home and at work. I use this as a kind reminder of the benefits of returning to this practice. The following is a modified guide for mindful breathing from the Fresno Veterans Affairs. And these are the steps. Become comfortable on your chair, loosening any tight clothing, say jeans, maybe unbutton, removing your glasses. So, because sometimes they might slide off. I normally wear glasses myself, and I feel that, sometimes they do feel, they slide down, so remove them. Remove any watch, because sometimes even that faint click of the seconds hand can be distracting. So eliminate jewelry that jingle and chunkle. Eliminate all physical barriers. Settle in with a relaxed but straight posture, not like this, right? But find that straight posture and then relax into your chair, right? With a straight posture, shoulders relaxed. Find the space between your butt and the chair, centered and balanced. Don't clench your butt cheeks. Relax into it. Find your center. Find your balance. And settle in there, relaxing in the moment. Move your upper body slightly forward, then slightly back to find that balance. With no stress on your lower back from going too far forward, all right, and to your lower back as well. And no tension in your belly from leaning too far back. Finding again that centeredness, that balance, that natural posture. Allowing your arms to rest and your hands to rest comfortably in your lap. Now, the next step is to gently close your eyes, or if you prefer, cast a soft gaze downward to the floor, a bit ahead of you, but not really looking at anything. Rather, partially closing your eyelids, like so, and looking gently with a soft gaze, neutral, and again relaxed. Allow your body to become still as you focus your attention inward, your shoulders, chest, and tummy relaxing. Bring awareness now to the breath, to your breath. Not controlling or manipulating the breath in any way, like this. That's breath manipulation, right? Notice your breath as it enters through your nose instead, and all the way it moving into your belly and back out again. One breath following the other, the in-breath and the out-breath. Notice how each breath follows one after the other in a never-ending cycle and flow. Let everything else move into the background. Allowing the breath to be the focus of your awareness. No need to think about how the air moves in and out. Just being with the breath. Allowing the breath to breathe itself. Allow your awareness to rest on the path of the breath that is most natural and comfortable for you. It might be at the tip of the nose, noticing that the air is cooler on the in-breath and warmer on the out-breath. It might be the throat area as you feel the breath move through this channel to support your entire body. Or it might be at the belly, where you notice the wave-like movements of the belly as it rises on the in-breath and relaxes on the out-breath. And you rest in that moment, the moment of silence. You may notice that the mind wanders away from the breath, perhaps into thoughts, emotions, sounds, body sensations. No problem. This is to be expected. This is what minds do. Whenever you notice that your mind has wandered off, gently and intentionally Bring attention back to your breath. That is the practice. And you gently open your eyes. So in this practice of meditation, we are using the breath as an anchor, a way of refocusing attention to bring us back to the present from wherever the mind has drifted. Just understanding that the mind is doing what minds do, thinking, gently and intentionally bring attention back to the breath. We feel an emotion, a sense of anxiety, sadness sometimes, impatience even, or peace. Just allowing the emotional experience to be what it is, simply observing the curiosity. Notice how the feeling may shift and change, and when ready, returning the awareness back to the breath in the present moment. Notice physical sensations, an itch or even a tickle, a sense of numbness, tingling, perhaps restlessness. Simply notice this and become aware of the sensations changing from moment to moment, coming and going, appearing and disappearing as we observe them in this way. Repeat this as short as you can endure or as long as you have the time. And the key is making time for it. So that's an example of mindfulness practice focused on breathing. Now we focus on body scanning. The following exercise is adapted from UC Berkeley's Greater Good Science Center. This will take a few minutes. The body scan can be performed while lying down, sitting, or in other postures. So if you'd like to change yours from a sitting position during our webinar, if you can safely and have the space for it, feel free to lie down. Make sure that you can still hear me, and we will guide through this. But I will go through this in a more instructional form, just to give you some ideas around it. So, however, the following steps are a guided meditation designed to be done while sitting, okay? But feel free to modify it as you please, and if you're required to become more comfortable in your personal space. So this is how we would begin. You bring attention into the body. Close your eyes, or a soft gaze away from the body. Again, an object that doesn't move, an abstract space, a quiet and constant point in your personal space. You can notice your body seated, wherever you're seated, feeling the weight of your body on the chair or on the floor. Take a few deep breaths while sitting or laying down. And as you take a deep breath, bring in more oxygen into the body. And as you exhale, have a sense of deeper state of relaxation. Notice your feet on the floor. Notice the sensations of your feet touching the floor. The weight, the pressure, the vibration, the heat. You can also notice your legs against the chair of the floor or on the floor. The pressure, the pulsing, the heaviness, the lightness. Notice your back against the chair or on the floor. Bring your attention into your stomach area. If your stomach is tense or tight, let it soften and take a breath. Notice your hands. Are your hands tense or tight? See if you can allow them to soften. Notice your arms. Feel any sensation in your arms. Let your shoulders be soft. Notice your neck and throat. Let them be soft and relax. Soften your jaw. Let your face and facial muscles be soft. Let's try that again. Notice your neck and throat. Let them be soft and relaxed. Soften your jaw. Let your face and facial muscles be soft. Then notice your whole body present. Take one more breath. Becoming aware of your whole body as best as you can. Take a breath. And when you're ready, open your eyes. I'd like to add a personal favorite when it feels like not much time is there. Say when you're at work or at the office, even at home, right? And especially when clients are back to back between, say, supervision and staff meetings. Whether I'm standing or sitting, I tighten my muscles from different sections, from my head down to my feet, if I have a few minutes, or just my whole body if I'm crunched for time. And I hold it with inhalation and release with exhalation. I try to do this as many times possible. A good spot is at your desk chair or against a wall. Make sure it's not the partition wall from cubicle to cubicle. Make sure it's a pretty strong wall. I personally particularly like the fire escape or stairwell, where it tends to be very quiet and serene. Just be careful that it's not a true fire exit where you can enter back into your office or personal space. But I find that those spaces very calm and quiet. I don't know about you, but I found this image and I've not seen a very beautiful fire escape like this. All right. And lastly, here are a couple of resources that I've found to be helpful in guiding myself towards mindfulness practice, and a kind reminder to prioritize my health and well-being so that I may be there for my patients and clients. One is Mindfulness for Skeptics. And there's the little resource between using BCE or CE versus BC or AD. 5 ways to practice breath-focused meditation. And the body scan meditation from UC Berkeley in their Greater Good Science Center. And this is the Mindfulness for Students scripts. In the event that you are an educator, you can use that as well. And of course, keep an eye out for the podcast version of this webinar coming soon. Thank you so very much. Salamat po. As we transition to the lovely folks at MHTTC, Northwest MHTTC for the Q&A, again, I would like to simply say to all of you, thank you for your time. Salamat po. And Kang Hei Fat Choi, Happy Lunar New Year. It is the year of the ox. So if you were born on the year of the ox, this is your year to charge forward and say goodbye to 2020. And take it away. I bring it back to Christina Clayton, who will coordinate the Q&A.
All right. Thank you so much, Alex. I think we all needed some of that today. Speak for myself. So we do have some questions. So I'm excited to share some of those. So one question is there, and this is a good question. They're all good questions, but this is a great one. Is there a difference between mindfulness and meditation?
Yes. I will share it in a link and we'll send it forward. There is this amazing imagery of how to distinguish mindfulness and meditation. Meditation is about being aware of your surrounding, right? Of the environment. And there's an image of the silhouette of a person's, side view of a person's head and their environment around them. And the distinction of mindfulness is you're aware of yourself and how you fit into the earth and into the world. And so on the opposite end of that image is all of the trees and the mountains, and then it's inside you. So it's like a deeper practice. So that's the best way I can describe mindfulness and meditation in lay terms. But I will look for that image and accompanying content for it to best describe it. That's a great question. Thank you. And there is, in fact, a difference.
Yeah, no, that's really helpful. And, I forgot to say this at the beginning, but we were fortunate enough to get some additional funding to support this series by Aleks from SAMHSA, amidst everything that everyone's facing, specifically for provider well-being. And so that is a very big umbrella, but I'm very excited to see how many folks have turned out for these sessions and just continue to get this great feedback. Want to make sure if you can give us your formal feedback in the link, that would be great. But we do have one other question. What are your thoughts of achieving this awareness through physical activity? I asked this because I achieved this state through dancing at a very heightened level.
That's from Monica. Thank you, Monica.
Yeah.
I'm not very familiar with Eskimo dancing, but as far as achieving it through dancing, it's definitely, I would put that under body scanning, but it's in the opposite direction. For many folks who either did, whether you're a technical dancer or not, I definitely find a benefit from physical activity. That to me, I would correlate with exercise, whether that's, from home at you have a home gym or you just do your own thing, stationary running or actually running, hiking, biking. For folks that are really in tune with that, time and time again, we hear them talk about the benefits in their minds, in their hearts, and in their souls, above and beyond the physical benefits. So how do we go in that direction? I think that's just a stepping stone into it. I think it's sort of that broad range. So I would look at it as sort of this, it's under that umbrella. And if I'm hearing the question correctly, it sounds like, how do we get to that level? I think it's up to that person. Sometimes of course, I'm coming from the mindset that we are all able-bodied, right? And that can be achieved through different methods and ways of physical activity. And so I would just think of it as, if you are actually benefiting from it and it's part of a tradition or a culture, whether that's in your background or something that's in a professional background, or just for exercise health reasons, I say go for it and incorporate it. I could think of a way. It's hard for me to really imagine because I'm kind of hard on myself not being more physically active. But when I have done it, I've actually, how they do the warm up, I actually incorporate like a breathing exercise in the warm up that leads to a physical activity. And that could be a dance, or it could be a traditional, say, exercise or gym space. So I hope I was able to answer that question. Thank you.
No, I think you've touched on the idea that these definitions are varied and people experience these sort of states in a variety of ways. I happen to have, not that I look at it enough, but a little book called Mindfulness on the Go.
Yes.
So there's I mean, if you can't have enough of these books, but it doesn't help if you don't read them. So that's what I've learned. So you have to still practice, practice, practice. So thank you for getting those links and resources, Reggie, on the chat. So just wanted to say thanks again to Aleks. I just adore everything you have been able to bring to our community here. It's been such a pleasure. And I just want to thank our team here at the Northwest MHTTC because we could not do this without them. So Reggie back there making everything happen. Just again, a closing reminder, your feedback's really important. And, it's aggregated. It's nothing personal that will get to any of us, but it lets SAMHSA know that we reached the workforce. It also lets Aleks and other presenters know, how did this come across, both in some numerical and also some comments you can share, and helps us know if we should plan more like this or something different, or how did you receive this. We also, as Aleks mentioned, are working on getting some podcasts. And so your feedback from these surveys also help us know what should we be trying to include or target for those things. Let's connect. Those are all the ways you can connect with us. So if you didn't hear about this directly from us and you want to sign up for our newsletter, we certainly let folks know about these and other events. And, I mentioned in the beginning, we have a website, but you're connected once you're on our website to all the centers in the whole national network and all those events. Everything's virtual right now, for good or for worse. So lots of resources out there, just in this vein, and other topics around mental health support. So thanks again for joining us, and we will see you next time. We will inform you in a few weeks when the recording is available. We'll get all of Aleks's resources on those pages and link you to those, and we'll get the slides and all of that. And you'll also hear about us via some certificate links, so you'll hear about those as well. Thank you
Thank you so
so
much.
much.
Thank you,
Yes.
Christina, and your
Yes.
amazing team,
Yes.
Reggie, Gabriel, and Amy. And I want to say hello to the folks that came all the way from Alabama, Alaska, Nebraska, Pennsylvania. I saw your hellos from earlier. Thank you so much for
Yes.
joining us.
Yes. Thank you. Have a good day, everybody.